All right, Carter and Sawyer Roberts, welcome to the podcast. How y'all doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
All right. The twin thing is already starting, right? Yeah.
We'll just be one voice throughout the whole show.
Very good. Very good. Well, yeah, man. Thank y'all for taking the time out of your day and come on the podcast and share some of your experiences with us and everything. So, so to start out, we always start out with this Tales game here, and it's a conversation starter. And so we'll go ahead and jump into this. So these are random questions. We don't know what's coming, and we'll see how we go here. Okay. All right. First one. Okay, so who in your family would make the best game show host?
Say my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely my dad.
Okay.
He's the loudest. I was thinking of siblings. I was like, none of them. And then you said dad. I was like, yeah.
He's so he can talk.
He can.
He can talk really well. So so comparing your mom and your dad, are both of them big talkers, or more of your dad, or?
Well, because we're sort of like our mom who can talk to people, okay. Like we can if we need to, but more on the quieter side.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, Sawyer's talks a lot, but
right.
Yeah, my dad talks a lot more.
Okay. Yeah. And so I think that's definitely a gift to be able to communicate freely. I know that whenever he's given talks in church and so forth, I mean, he can tell stories like that, and just talking. And he's always got a story to tell.
Right.
Always has a story to tell. So, all right. So, good old Tim Roberts. He'll be our game show host next time we need one.
Yeah,
right?
he will.
All right. All right. Here we go. Let's see here. We've got. Okay. What's one of your most pet peeves? Something that kind of gets on your nerves.
Oh man. I'd have to say when people brag a lot.
Okay.
But I catch myself doing this
right.
too. We all do it, but it gets on my nerves sometimes. I'm like, stop. Just let other people brag for you. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So some people always want to talk about themselves and what they have going on and what they're good at, and
so we're here to talk about ourselves.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. But you've been invited to do so.
Yeah. So I'll maybe get mad at myself.
Yeah. What about you, Carter?
Probably about the same thing. If we were kids, I would say Sawyer.
Right.
But right now, we're good buddies, so it's okay. But I don't know. Not a lot really gets on my nerves,
Right.
But I'd say probably that as well.
Okay. Did the mission help out with that a little bit as far as patience and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
You just realize you wanted to be it's like how President Nelson puts it, like a peacemaker.
Right.
You see people like your comps doing things that might not have been the best, and you're like, let it go. It's not affecting anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely battles to choose and to have, and some other battles are just aren't worth fighting. So
right.
Let it go. Let's do one more. Who would get voted most likely to disappear during cleanup time?
Sawyer. Yeah, I would.
Sawyer? Okay.
Yeah. Or Julianne, my sister.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be one of us too.
Yeah. So it's when it's time to clean up, it's like I'm gonna find a way to get out of here, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm tired. I gotta take a nap.
Yeah, that's right. My younger son, Chase, he would be the one voted for that, and he admits that as well.
Oh yeah.
Anytime we start doing chores, he's better now, especially now that Brody has left.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually stepped up a good bit and got more mature in that aspect and everything. But growing up, chores, working in the garden, whatever it is, he's hard to find, and he gets out of there quick.
Yeah,
so,
wants to get out of it.
That's right. All right. Well, hey, yeah. So that's our Tales game there. So everybody, if you haven't ever seen that before, check it out. Tales.com. They got a family edition. They got couples editions. They got friends editions, and then they just got life editions and stuff. So pretty cool way to have some fun sitting around the table, have some conversations and everything. So. All right, man. Well, hey, let's get into this, our conversation about serving a mission. So if you would, Carter, you go first, and then Sawyer, tell us where you were called to serve.
All right. I served in the Philippines Kauaian mission.
Okay. Kauaian.
Yeah.
Kauaian mission. Okay.
And I served in the Philippines to Gigadal mission.
Say that one again.
Tigigiro.
Okay. Tigigiro.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
Tigigiro.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. So was and were those different dialects? Were they the same dialect or
Anywhere in the Philippines, there can be different dialects,
Right.
but the base language, the mother tongue was Tagalog, so that's what we'd.
Tagalog? Yeah. Okay.
There were two more dialects that he didn't have that were in my mission, but
Okay.
then other than that, yeah, same base language.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. So growing up, where did you want to serve, or did you have a desire?
Yeah. We both definitely had a desire, but I just wanted to serve as far away as I could from home.
Okay.
You know, because it was like your only chance to go grow up, I guess,
Right.
and go be an adult. And I wanted to have like a hard mission because I was like, you never struggled like that again, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to learn a language, wanted to be as far away as I could. And back then I would think like France. I was like, oh, French would be a cool
Right.
language to learn. But looking back, like Philippines was the perfect
Okay.
mission.
Very good. How far a trip is it from here to the Philippines?
13. Well, the flight from.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about a day travel.
So it's
Yeah,
about a
it's
full
about a
day.
Yeah, full day. With all the flights put together.
Right.
Full day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rough.
That's a long way from home.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
It is. That's what we were excited about.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Sorry? Did you want to go out of the States as well? And Yeah.
I did. What we were mostly wanting was same language. I mean,
Okay.
like as long as it was closer, same language. I really didn't care where I went. What we were really scared about that was getting
Right.
far apart, different language. I don't know. We just wanted that connection.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we got it. So
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of you can go and come back speaking Russian, and the other one come back speaking French or something.
Yeah,
You know,
like
then
that
this
would've been
is where it
useless.
all starts. That's cool. And y'all may know this. So I just saw a post where a lady had posted about her sons, twins, being served, and kind of the same thing that y'all had, being called to neighboring missions, speaking the same language and everything. Do y'all know? Does that happen a lot? Like, does the church try to do that?
They
I
do.
would say, yeah.
I think it's for comfort reasons,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Because we were in the temple the other day and we met two twins. They served in Argentina.
Okay.
Or was it-
Ordering missions as well.
Yeah. And they got to be comps for the last 10 days of the mission.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
so it's like, I think the church does try to do it a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
just
They
to help
know
them out.
that, you know, sometimes twins need that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask y'all about that a little bit. I know your dad he's mentioned it a few times. I think y'all had only spent one night apart growing up until it was time to leave for your mission.
Yeah, and at that point, we were only 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So was that a big concern for y'all, how you would both kind of react or handle being separated?
Yeah, it was pretty rough for like the first few days of the field because you know the MTC just felt like EFY because me and my brother were there together,
Right.
and no transition at all.
Right.
Like my MTC comp was one of my best buddies, and so we got along really well. Sawyer was there, didn't feel any different.
Right.
The field, we got there, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. You know,
Right.
I don't got like my kind of like right hand man that we always have to fall back on to talk to.
Uh-huh.
So it was pretty hard, but I was surprised how quickly we
Adapted
over
and
that, yeah.
stuff. Okay. Very good. Same for you. Sawyer?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, talk a little bit about what it's like kind of growing up with the twin and being kind of always connected. So for example, do you participate in the same hobbies? Do you are there any differences that you have as far as hobbies, interests, and things like that, or is everything kind of lined up?
I'd say we grew up definitely having the same hobby, same everything.
Right.
And we didn't like it at first. We really hated sharing things, sharing clothes, all those things. It was like, why? We're our own person.
Right,
We'd get a meal at the restaurant. They'd be like, just get the one, you share it. And it's like,
Right.
no. And so,
we share everything.
yeah,
else.
especially with my dad,
Right,
but
yeah.
like, I'd say as we grew up, we came to love not sharing things. Well, I guess we do, but it became more of, we became friends
leaned
Right.
into it.
and we didn't mind sharing things. We didn't mind being together all the time.
Right.
And so I think it just, as we gain more of a friendship, it
Okay.
helped.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I don't. I mean, we know. So I've got a set of I've got some first cousins, and it's actually male and female. They're identical twins, and they were always really really close growing up and everything. But I did not. Probably a little different being male and female. So you're both of them heavy into sports and so forth, and did a lot of the same things. And I can imagine that's probably, I would say, you find that most with twins having similar interests and so forth.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any difference in being identical and then just fraternal twins. I don't know if that makes any difference or not.
Usually they are a little bit different. We know a lot of fraternal twins, and they like have a good connection, but they do branch off a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. But that was the thing with hobbies. Sawyer and I were very similar because, like, I'll give this for example. I started playing the ukulele when I was like, I have no idea how old I was, like 7, 6, something like that. But he knew, because he was my twin, that he could also do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like having a twin's like a mirror. You're like, oh, he just did that, so I know I'm capable of doing that.
Okay.
So we try it, and then we end up liking it as well. So that was the same thing with the ukulele. He started playing it, and with different sports, one of us would start liking something. The other one's like, okay, I'll try it because I know I can do that. And then we also started to like it. So yeah, we have the same interests.
That's cool. That's interesting. Almost being able to see a version of yourself, right? Like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that, and recognizing. So, what were some of the different hobbies that you did? Whether you lived on the beach for a while, right? Did you get into surfing a little bit, or bodyboarding, or anything like that, or
big into surfing?
Yeah,
when we first moved there, we weren't really too much, but we got into it
freshman year
of high school, and we were skating before that and things like that. And another thing that he was saying, kind of how one will start and then the other will follow. That's kind of how we always did it. Is one was the guinea pig for one thing. Be like, would that work out? And that it made it fun. So like surfing, we did that one together, but the rest was separate. And then we both come to like it.
Like on the mission, he shaved his head and he was the guinea pig. I did not do it after that.
He learned.
Shaved it all the way.
Yeah. Well, it was like, it wasn't super
just
bad.
pretty good. Okay. Very good. That's awesome. Well, very good. So let's get into a little bit about receiving the call. And well, actually, let me back up just a little bit. Y'all are the youngest of 5?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did your siblings prior to you serve?
Yeah, they all did.
They all did. Okay. So what was the expectation like? Was there any time that you're like, you know what, mission's not for me, or was it just all something that you always wanted to do and was planning on doing?
Yeah, we definitely always planned on doing it because we watched our siblings go, especially I would say our 2 sisters, because like my oldest sister, she's super introverted.
Okay.
So she went out, had a great time, and I don't know all of her experiences on the mission, but she changed a lot. She learned a lot. And so we watched her come home. We're like, oh, she can do that. She was good at doing that, And then our the middle child in the family, our sister, she went out to California, and she's a bit more anxious as well. She gets anxious over things, and she went out, had a great time, just like all missionaries had her struggles, but she came back, changed a lot. And so Sawyer and I are like, oh yeah, we can do this.
Nice.
You always say you want to do it, and then it gets to the point you got to start working on your papers and stuff, and you're like, oh man, like, can I do that?
Starts hitting home a little bit. Yeah.
But we definitely always wanted to.
Yeah. That's awesome being able to have that example to go before you and see them serve. So that's great. And so did your dad serve as well?
Yes.
Okay.
California as well.
California?
Yeah. My mom was the only one who didn't serve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Very good. Big family of missionaries. That's awesome. So whenever you talked to me about the MTC a little bit, where was the MTC?
We did 2 MTCs. We did it in Provo, and then we went to Manila.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so were you able to see each other in the MTC in, I guess, both settings, or
Yeah, the whole time.
the whole time? Were y'all companions or no?
No,
Okay.
but our rooms and our classrooms were right next to each
Right
other.
next to each other?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what was the MTC like for y'all?
Kind of like high school.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like to me.
Yeah, no.
Like we had friends and
Right.
you'd go to classes, and then
Okay.
afterwards it was kind of studies or go be with friends. And so that's my brother would always tell me right before he picked us up to take us to the MTC because he was in Utah. And he's just like, look, the MTC is not your mission.
Right.
And you got to remember that it is where you learn, but enjoy the MTC and then get ready for the mission. It's just a place to kind of, I don't know, you kind of transition into being a missionary, but
Right.
you're not a full missionary yet.
Right. So what about learning the language? What was that like?
In the MTC or just the whole time?
Well, both. Yeah. So I mean, I know once you get into the field, it's different. It's a little more real, right?
Yeah,
versus the classroom settings. Definitely different. But
yeah, that was my favorite part one of my favorite parts about the mission was learning the language. But the MTC, you go in and you honestly don't learn that much, which is
Right.
what should be expected.
yeah,
You learn just the basics of how to start saying things, but the reality of it is you don't really learn the language until you're out in the field. Like you
Right.
don't even start to learn it until you're out in the field.
right.
So it was rough for sure, because it's just completely different from English. They do use some English in their language, like they'll just mix it. They have some borrowed words, and then they got borrowed words from Spanish as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like a little mixed language, but grammar is completely different, things like that. So it took me a little while to get kind of fired up about it because it was really hard. But, I had some ZLs and stuff that would talk to me that I still talk to just because they got me fired up about the language. They had the same thing happen to them and they learned it to the best of their ability. And they just kind of like impressed that on me.
Right.
So I was like, I want to do that. People will talk to you more. They'll respect you as a missionary more and just be willing to listen to you if you know their language.
Right.
So it was amazing to see how people would open up more if they didn't think you were just practicing on them,
Right. Right.
So it's pretty awesome.
So give me a couple of examples of just some words in English and Tagalog. What are some examples?
Well, one thing they'll do, because this wouldn't really be called Tagalog, it's called just Filipino. That's like what the modern, I guess, Tagalog is because they mix it with English. It's like Taglish, right? And so instead of saying the word for like shopping is like namamalengke, right? But if a lot of people would just say like nagsha-shopping kami, so they'll just conjugate it with an English word.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so just stuff like that, they do it all the time.
Yeah, so I was reading that I guess so English is heavily spoken over there, or I mean, is there, or maybe not heavily, but I mean, there's a lot of people that do know English, or
Yeah, and it depends on the place. Like in Manila, which is the biggest city, other than Cebu probably, they speak a lot more English than they do where we were at. Where we were at, it was different dialects. Like I said, where I was at, it was Itawis, Ibanag, Tagalog, and Ilocano. So that was what they spoke. And so they didn't really know English. They'd always try it. They didn't know it very well.
right?
But yeah, I'd say like Manila and stuff, they do know it because it's a lot more business and it's kind of like that.
Okay. And so Carter, you had Manila in your mission?
No,
No,
we were both super far up.
Oh, so neither one of you had Manila. Okay.
Yeah.
What's another example then of English and Tagalog?
If I'm being honest, you can do it with like anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if you know the grammar of Tagalog and you just put English words into it, it's fine. So you could just be like if you say like your talk was amazing, right? You would just say like maganda ang talk mo. It's like your talk was beautiful, right? And so you just use the word talk, or I don't know. How could you? Sorry, you got an example?
I mean, even like we're finding this, you'd be like, hinahanap namin yung, or fina-find namin. You're using the same conjugation, but they just do it with English.
Gotcha.
And because they did it so much, I started to do it a ton. And so like, I don't know. It was weird how they did it, but it made sense. It's weird that it makes sense for me.
Right, yeah.
Just like the English words, adding those little letters, like the in, it's a conjugation, or mag, or You can add those to the English word, and it really does make sense the way that they use it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole like Filipino language, Tagalog language is based off of phonetics.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there? I guess so would you consider that slang maybe if they're
Sort
doing
of.
it that way?
Yeah, it's not
So-
very
Yeah.
formal Tagalog.
Yeah. So how long does it take you to feel comfortable with the language?
We had different experiences with that.
Yeah, we
All
did.
right.
It depends on how quickly you're pushed, I think. Because I would say this: Carter studied a lot more than I did in the mission. He's always been better at studying, and so for me, at the beginning of my mission, the companion I had didn't know Tagalog or English very well because he
Okay.
was from a different place in the Philippines, but he spoke a different language there, and so
Wow.
it took me a little while because he didn't know how to teach me Tagalog. I didn't know how to learn Tagalog. And then the next companion I was training. And so it was like he didn't really want to speak Tagalog to me. It was really hard, but then it pushed me to do all the talking. And so I learned just through having to talk to everybody I had to.
Right.
And so it was less studying
Wow.
and more just doing that. And so it pushed me at the beginning a little bit more, but then my studies, Carter advanced more in studies, That's
Yeah.
where it's like, so for me it took about a year and a half probably, but I advanced quicker at the beginning because of being pushed in the beginning.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and for me, when I got to because the first thing when I was in my first area and I was just struggling with it, like I said, I had a ZL who helped me out a lot. He was just like, go into your second area and pretend like you know the language so that all the members will speak to you in the language and that it's a huge confidence boost.
Right.
And so I did that and I was like, oh man, that really worked. Like I still didn't know the language that well. I was only 7 months in at the time. And I was just excited because I was like, oh, now they're all speaking to me in the language I want to learn, So by my third area, I was pretty confident in it. Like I wasn't like, oh man, I don't know what to say in the situation. I was just excited to go talk to whoever and learn more. And so I would say for me and Sawyer, we did share in common. We just learned a lot more by experience than we did our studies.
Right.
Because I would study it. There were parts of my mission that I slacked, but that part I was also training. So I was training a foreigner as well, and he was from Africa, so he didn't know. He knew English, but they speak more broken English over there. So he was about 2 languages behind, right? So I had to do all the talking, and so just like him, it was kind of just experience based. We just want to go talk to the people, and I would say that brings in the gift of tongues more. You're praying for it, and of course you're doing your part, but having that desire to go talk to people and learn it.
Right. I mean, that's so you're having to learn a new language, and is Tagalog considered a very difficult language to learn?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, okay.
From English, yeah.
Right. So you're learning a new language, and then on top of that, what about learning about how to teach the gospel to somebody else? Maybe talk about that a little bit, where you're learning, more about the gospel, your understanding of the gospel, and then at the same time having to learn a language and then try and teach that. What is that like?
That was very hard. I'll say at the beginning, because like I said, my trainer, he didn't know Tagalog, but he was a really good teacher, and so I didn't know what he was saying. He would just go teach and was really good. I could always feel the spirit, even if I didn't know what he was saying. And then the next companion I had didn't know how to teach either because he was a trainee, and so that made it really hard. But whenever I'd go out to teach, it made me always teach. And I just remember opening up the pamphlets, and I didn't study them. I should have, but I would read Book of Mormon during my personal study and do that. But then one time we were like, okay, let's teach this person plan of salvation. And I just remember going over and I opened the pamphlet. I was like, oh no, I didn't read this. I don't know what it says. It's in Tagalog. I don't know this. And so it had a picture of a family on it. I was like, this is about the family.
Right.
And we left. We didn't say anything else.
Okay.
And I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh. And so it made me read the pamphlets. It made me actually study what I was teaching.
Gotcha.
And so it was hard at first, but it made it so much cooler to realize it's like they don't know either what you're saying. I don't know if you're saying something wrong. They don't know. And so I was able to learn the gospel as I was teaching.
Okay. How prominent is the church over there? As far as
There's a big presence over there for sure, but it's still fairly new.
Okay.
I think it was like the 40s or something like that.
I don't know.
I don't know. Or the 60s that it was brought over, and so it's not. It doesn't run as smoothly as it does here in the U.S., right? Because this is where the restoration happened, right? But they do what they can, and a lot of the members are still, that's why I think it's a good thing that there's other countries coming in as missionaries to go teach and to go help the members as well, because they can bring in the ideas from around the world to help out the things that they lack in, and vice versa.
Right. So do they have a lot of just branches over there, or their wards, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
But it is growing more. I'd say they're getting more wards, more stakes, especially in the cities. But where it's out more
rural areas,
it's more branches.
Right.
It's more, but it grows so fast, and that's another hard part. Is it because of that growth? It's a lot of people that aren't trained as leaders. They just don't. It's too new, in some places.
Maybe just doing the best they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool. So, how many companions did y'all have?
I had 10.
10. Okay.
Yeah. And I had 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you find? Did you have any American companions? None.
I had 2 Africans, but that was it.
Okay.
2 foreigners.
Wait, how many did I have? 1. I think I had 2. Yeah. 2.
Okay. And were they coming from other countries as well, or were they Filipino?
The
companions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had 9 Filipino companions.
Okay.
And then 2 African companions.
Okay.
Yeah. And then he had more foreign companions.
I think I had 4 Filipinos and 2 from Africa. And then 2, wait, that doesn't add up. How many companions did I say I had?
You had 10?
10.
Oh, okay.
And then you had 6 Filipinos?
2 from Africa. Yeah, 6 Filipinos, 2 Americans.
Okay. So what's your experience like with getting along with your companions? Did you get along with most of them, or were there any challenging companions?
I'd say I mostly got along with all of them, but I'd say the only hardest one was my second companion, because I was new, he was new,
right,
and that kind of made us not get along as well. But what I noticed is, like, if you're not getting along with a companion inside the house, just go out and work.
Yeah,
and we got along so much better. And so I really loved all my
That's
companions because none of them were lazy.
Right.
All of them wanted to go out and work. So we always got work done. We were never fighting during work. And so that really helped, is just not having a lazier companion and not being lazy really helps a companionship get together, help my companionships be together more united.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because if you've got somebody that's willing to work, I mean, that solves a lot of problems right there. Anyway, it's just in life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're willing to go work, things are going to work. Things are going to work out, eventually. And so if you've got a companion that is kind of lazy, that doesn't want to get out and do the work, don't want to share the gospel, doesn't want to learn the language, and maybe having a harder time just being there, that can make things a lot more difficult for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got along, I would say, with all of them, but there was a reason for that, because like in my patriarchal blessing, it talks about my mission a little bit, and my companions basically advises me to look for the good, right, in them. And I'm glad that it did, because as I was on my mission, there were things that like would bother me about my companion that, I know I don't want to live with when I have my eternal companion, you know what I mean? So I learned that from them, but I'd also just realize that's just how it is. They'll have things that annoy them. I probably have a bunch of things that annoy them. So I got along with all of them. We were all really good friends. The only one that was like I had a companion for 3 cycles at one point. He wasn't a hard companion. We had a really good time together. It was just like 3 cycles is a long time.
Yeah.
I remember emailing my mission president. I didn't tell him I had any problems. I was like, Prez, this is kind of a long time. And he was like, it's good practice for when you're married.
That's right. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that a mission is really great for, is learning to live with someone. There's going to be different personality differences. different interests and different mood swings or whatever it is. There's a lot that goes into learning to live with someone for sure. So was that your longest companion then?
Yeah, 3 cycles.
Okay, and that's 3 transfers, I guess, in English. Yeah. Okay. How about you, Sawyer? How long was your longest companion?
Just 2 cycles.
Just 2? Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of 2 cycle companions and then 1 cycle.
Okay, all right. I had a companion for 5 months. So back when I served, it wasn't 6-week transfers; it was every 4 weeks. So it lined up with months most of the time. But yeah, so I had a companion for 5 months.
So it was 5 cycles.
Yep. Yeah, stuff. So, and again, not exact, because 5 cycles would be a little more than 5 months.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. So it's but it was, I guess, 5 cycles technically, because we had transfers every 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the area that I was serving where we had. I was there for 8 months in one area. And everything. They started joking around, asking for my records.
Transfer you over.
That's right, exactly. We're gonna make this permanent. Yeah. So, and thankfully, he was my favorite companion as well. Awesome. I had him for 5 months. We still stay in good contact with each other today. Matter of fact, I took my family out to tour my mission back in 2021. Mm-hmm. And I served in Las Vegas, and so I took him to Las Vegas, and then we drove up through St. George all the way up to Salt Lake, and he lives up there around that area, and so I took my family by to visit with him and his family, and everything. That was the first time I'd seen him since the mission and stuff. So it was just like old times. We did a lot of kind of picking back and forth at each other. Yeah. I don't know if y'all experienced that much. Sure, kind of playing some practical jokes on each other. But there was one time where we both had gotten a bag of cookies from a lady, and we get in the car and stuff, and I asked him for me to hold his bag of cookies for a second. He gave them to me. Anyway, I took him and I just punched him. I just turned them into crumbs, and then I handed them back to him. He's like, "What in the world, man?" And so we go out. This is 20 years later, 25 years later, whatever it was, and I go to visit with him, and they grilled for us and so forth, and we're sitting there, and they bring out the brownies, and he asked me if I wanted a brownie. I said sure. He puts it on his plate, slides it over to me, and then he just smashes that brownie. It explodes, and our wives are like, "What are you doing? What just happened?"
He's like, "I'm getting revenge."
That's right. He said, "Man, I've been waiting for 20 years to do that."
Yeah, I had a comp actually it was my last comp. He was American, from Arizona, and that's what we would do to each other all the time. Just we do bits all the time, just pretending like we don't know each other and stuff like that. But one thing is we go to McDonald's, because McDonald's is huge over in the Philippines. It's like a date place. Actually. Right. It's hilarious. But if you took someone on a date here to McDonald's, they're gonna break up with you immediately. Right. But we'd go, and while he was in the bathroom or something, or if I was in the bathroom, we'd grab the burger and over the top of the wrapper, take a bite of it. So when they open it up, it's who took a bite of a burger, We do that to any other missionaries that we go around with.
I've never done that before.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's funny. That's and I think you got to do that a little bit just to kind of keep yourself sane and so forth. Right. Kind of building that just relationship, buddies, just having a good time out there serving, doing the work of the Lord for sure. Let me see here. All right, so what about your maybe understanding of the gospel before you left your mission, and then understanding having returned, and in answering that and talking about that, is there anything that stood out to you about the gospel before you left that you kind of really attached yourself to, and maybe what are some of the new things that you've realized or your understanding of the gospel over the last 2 years?
Sure. Sawyer and I talked about this actually, and one thing that stuck out to me a lot that I realized a little bit before the mission, but I was really thankful for on the mission, was as I was a kid growing up, as I was in high school, I never I never had a question about where I came from, where I was, why I'm here, and where I was going.
Right.
I didn't fully know the plan of salvation until my mission, but some people struggle with that their whole lives. And I wouldn't say I took it for granted, but I just kind of was in the back of my head. I knew those answers, right? Yeah. That was never a thing that I had to question. And those are the biggest questions of life, right? And so I was really grateful that I did not have to question that, because we got to help people understand that and be like, oh my gosh, like, if Adam and Eve didn't do that, we wouldn't be here, things like that. So it was kind of cool to have those realizations that I never had to question that my entire life.
Yeah. I kind of have to agree with what Carter said, and that's what we talked about. Is as a kid, like thinking back, there was nothing I really appreciated of the gospel because I had it in my life. I never thought about it, and it's not that my parents, they raised us so well, that we were raised in the gospel. They were always in callings. We never were kind of questioning the church. That was something I never did. And then, but I do agree with what he said. It's the same thing of we knew the answers to those questions before we even knew we knew. Like it was on the mission, like I said, the lesson that I had to teach about plan of salvation with the pamphlet.
Right.
I know the plan of salvation. I had no clue how to teach it. And so I'd definitely say teaching on the mission helped me understand so much more about the gospel. Restoration, I learned about the restoration for best 2 years. About the Book of Mormon, like I didn't know any of it. And then I was watching best 2 years on the mission.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's where the Book of Mormon comes from. I just didn't, like I had read the Book of Mormon before and I just didn't understand it.
Right.
And then it was weird. It was like the mission was like a veil. You just pass through it and you're like, I know the Book of Mormon now. It just made it so much bigger in my head. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, I will say if Sister Carpenter watches this, we should have listened more in seminary.
Right.
Yeah. That's a big problem.
We didn't get as much out of it as we should have.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know anybody that wouldn't agree with you on that. Those questions of where we came from, why we're here, and where we're going. They're basic questions, but they're very, very deep questions that provide a lot of understanding to why we're here, right? Like what are we doing here in this life? And kind of like yourself. So I was baptized when I was around 12 years old. Mm-hmm. And so from there, kind of growing up in the gospel and just having an understanding of it helps you deal with challenges better if you have that understanding, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't know those things, then life is hard anyway. And then when you don't understand the grand scheme of things, or at least don't have a belief in it or a testimony of it, just challenges. I think of death. How do people deal with death when they don't know what's after this life, or at least have faith or belief in something afterwards, and everything. Let me ask you this: Have y'all ever? I'm sure you have, but as far as experienced family members passing away, or grandparents, or
just grandparents.
Grandparents, yeah. The earliest that I remember, my uncle, when I was 5 years old, he passed away unexpectedly, and at that point, I don't know anything, right? And I remember being there, and for whatever reason, I couldn't stop smiling. I don't know if that was just a nervous way of reacting when I'm in the funeral home or what. But I remember just thinking, and like, what does this mean? Like someone, when someone passes away, are they gone forever? I don't at that point, I don't think I knew anything about an afterlife or anything like that and stuff. So anyway, I say all that to say that when you do have that understanding, it makes going through those experiences a lot, I won't say easier, but just lighter. Exactly. That's a good word to use. Lighter, and being able to handle those situations. So
that's why I loved teaching with people that had those experiences. A lot of it, I was with. These were Filipinos that we were with that had lost their mom or their dad, and I loved, like, even just practice teachings. Like you tear up listening to their testimony, and it's just amazing because they have that understanding that most of them were converts too, and so they came to understand it, and so their testimony on that is super strong, right? And so I loved listening to that because I don't have that same understanding of it as they do.
Right, and it has to be. like coming across the gospel as an adult has to be so different than learning it as you grow up.
Right.
Mhm.
And I know, I mean, I've talked with converts and individuals that have come across the gospel in as an adult, and they're just like, man, where was this all my life? You know,
Yeah.
and being able to have that, and then it's especially so the oldest lady that we taught and baptized, she was 83 years old,
Wow.
and what a sweet experience that was to be able to teach her and kind of allow her eyes to be opened a little bit and have that greater understanding of why she's here in this life. Um, let me see here. What was your greatest challenge on the mission? Maybe outside of learning the language.
I'd say one for me was kind of confidence in like sharing the gospel.
Right.
I remember even whenever we were first going to the MTC, we were with Spencer,
All right.
and we went there, and I just remember everybody was kind of staring when we were in Atlanta airport. It was a little more scary when we got to Salt Lake. I was like, okay, they're mostly members,
Right.
but I didn't want to be stared at because I was like, this tag, I just didn't really know what I was doing.
Right.
And I just didn't like being noticed for that. I was like, I don't want to be noticed for my church. I don't want them to look at me like that. But then on my mission, I loved it. Like I felt weird without my tag on. It like would be at P Day and I'd have my tag on, but in regular clothes. And I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I really enjoyed that part of it, of just kind of, I don't know, being known for the gospel after that. At first I didn't like it, but now it's like, I love the gospel. I want to spread it.
Right.
And yeah, does that answer?
Yeah, no, that does for sure. So if you could maybe talk about that aspect, and maybe going back to as a youth, did you feel the same way as a youth, kind of being if you were known as a member of the church or as a Mormon, so to speak? Did you have similar experiences there, or not really?
Yeah, definitely. Like I even remember when we first moved to where we're living now at Fernandina, and we got made fun of a lot more than we did where we used to live, because there was next to no members that were our age. And so I just remember even being asked, like, do you say prayers at night? And they would be joking about it, and I'd be like, yeah, I do. But like, I don't know, I just always I hated that when I was little. But then especially when we got into high school, they would ask more questions, and even though I didn't really know, I was still able to answer, and I wasn't embarrassed about it. It came with being embarrassed about it to actually liking where I'm at. I love the gospel, but I didn't realize that when I was a kid.
Yeah. That's a tough thing to go through, for sure. I think especially when you don't know all the answers, right? Or if they ask about the history of the church, you don't know all the details there, or how to answer that, and so forth. So I know I won't say in high school they would ask questions. I mean, they know I went to seminary. Probably the weirdest thing that maybe ever happened to me is I'm sitting at the lunchroom table, and we're all just kind of gathered around talking, eating, and everything. And this girl about four seats down, just out of the blue, she says, "I can't stand Mormons," and and she was actually new to the area, so she hadn't grown up with me. Anyway, the whole table just turned and just looked at me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All eyes were on me, and I'm like, well, why do you not like Mormons? And she's like, because they make their own clothes. I'm like, and I start laughing. I'm like, I think my mom bought this from Walmart.
It says Old Navy on the
It says
front.
exactly. We don't make our own clothes,
Mhm.
we go and buy our stuff just like everybody else.
Right.
But how about you, Carter?
Biggest challenge?
Yeah.
This might sound bad because we were missionaries, but my biggest challenge was talking to everyone. That's the biggest thing that's pushed. But that's where Sawyer and I differ, is I'm a bit more introverted, and I can talk to people, but internally I don't always want to, right? And so as a missionary, that was it was at first hard because of the language, and that's why I was scared to talk to people. But up to my last area, I struggled with it mentally. I did not want to, but I would talk to anyone I could. But it was one thing I was glad that happened, but I wished happened earlier, was we had the area president come down for a mission tour. And in the first day, he was like, I'm going to do a faith test. How many people? We were going to end at like 5 or 6, right? Or 5 o'clock. Yeah. And he was like, how many people could you invite today? Talking to everyone. And people are throwing out numbers and stuff. And then one sister's like 200 people. And this is from like 5 to 9 that we have to do that. And he was like, okay, that's a good number. I like that. And he was like, he wants the whole mission to do that day. And I was like, crap, I don't want to do that, That's literally every person you see you have to go talk to. And that day, because we had a mission tour and all of the like mission leadership was together, our mission president was like, okay, all the ZLs can do exchanges together if they want. We were all staying at one house at the time. So I was with one of my buddies that I had never served with in the mission, but we just kind of knew each other. And we were like, okay, we were both introverts. He was also, he grew up as an introvert. So he was like, but for some reason, and this was the spirit, of course, we were just super like fired up about it. We're like, okay, we got this. We got 201 pass along cards, and we wrote down just the time of the church because it has the church name on it, and we just told people where it was as we did it, and we got it done in like an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half.
Holy cow.
And I was like, oh man, I didn't know we could do that, because we would kind of make a game out of it, as in, oh, look at that old lady over there, she wants to talk to us so bad. And so we go talk to her and we just get brushed off, and we're like, oh man. But I really wish that happened earlier, because I realized I can talk to everyone. Right. It's that mental block, So that was my biggest challenge for sure.
That's cool. Again, that's why I go back to that mentioned earlier about your dad having the gift of speaking and to entertain and talking to people. I host this podcast, right? So you wouldn't think that I kind of struggle with the same thing, but that's actually one of the things in starting this podcast. One of the things that I wanted to try and overcome more was the fear of public speaking in front of people, and going up to individuals, and having these interviews and being able to sit down with somebody, whether I've like today, I'll talk with the mayor. I've never met him before in my life. Right. So I'm going to sit down and have a conversation with him. And anyway, so just being able to go out and talk to strangers at the whim of a hat, and share your faith, your testimony. That's huge. I know a lot of people, a lot of missionaries, struggle with that, and being able to overcome that is awesome, for sure, and something you'll be able to use and build upon as you move forward. So that's cool. What about any notable miracles that either one of you experienced? Small. A lot of time when we say miracle, we automatically think of parting the Red Sea, right?
Right.
But miracles aren't always that. They can be small. So any stories there?
I'd say one big miracle I had on my mission. It's not really big, but for me, it just really grew my testimony. Was someone we were teaching. It was one girl. She was in college, and she was not really that interested. And I just told my companion, I was like, she's not interested. We got to stop teaching her. Not because we don't like her, but she's not progressing. She's not really interested. And then we taught her for a couple more weeks, wasn't really going anywhere. And then her younger sister, who's about my age, me and my companion, just sat down and just started asking questions. And we're like, well, this is weird. You walked past us for a month and never was not nice to us, but never talked to us, never was interested. And then she sat down, and so we just had a little lesson. We're like, oh, that's awesome. And then we were at church at a state conference that Sunday, and we had invited them, and they're like, maybe. But then she texted and was like, oh, we got up, but the bus left, because they only have one car. So it was, they all did a carpool and went, and they didn't get there. I was like, no way, they were actually going to come. And so they were like, okay, maybe next Sunday. And they came the next Sunday. And we had a lesson with her, and we just kind of asked her, we're like, why were you interested? And she said, I just saw y'all. I would always see y'all teaching my sister. And so what she did, she prayed about it. She's like, should I listen to these two guys that are teaching my sister? And she was like, I felt something I never felt before. And then her and her sister both ended up getting baptized within a month. And they came to church every Sunday after that. And now she has a calling. She's the Relief Society teacher.
Wow.
And so it's like that started off because of her desire to just pray, and was like, should I ask? And that was a huge miracle for me, because I was like, Spirit really does work on people. It doesn't matter who. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to have the gift of the Holy Ghost for it to work on you, even just a little bit.
Right.
And it grew my testimony a lot.
That's
it was
awesome.
really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Carter?
For me, the biggest ones that I can remember that I'm grateful for is happened in my last area. I kind of have two, but they're really quick. The first one, because me and my comp whitewashed this area, and there hadn't been a lot of work done in that area prior to us coming there. So we go out. We have no PMG app yet. We got no map of the area. We just walk out and we're just like, I hope this is our area, right? First person we talked to is just this old lady. She's like 70 plus and super nice. And it was just, that was me coming out like, I want to talk to everyone today, because we don't know what houses have been knocked. We don't know what houses haven't. So we treat them all like they haven't been. And so the first person we talked to is this old Nana is what they're called, right? And she was our IBD in that area a few weeks later, right? And that was when
she was what now?
She was our she had a baptismal date.
Okay.
A few weeks later. Sorry, I forgot that whole. And she was our biggest progressing person at the time, and you just don't realize that it comes out to that, right? And another, there was a member in the ward. She's been a member for 5 years, I'd say. She was taught before that about 3 years or something like that, because she waited till she got married. She got married, and then she was a member. Or I forgot how the story goes, but she's been a member for a little while. And the whole process has been about 8 years. And her husband is not a member. And this doesn't have like a huge happy ending, but was amazing about it to me was through that 8 years, he would go drop her off at church, wait in the parking lot for 2 hours until she got out. 8 years he's been doing this.
Wow.
And I just it was a little sad to me, because I was like, she wants him to be a member so bad. And she's such a nice person, right? They're probably like mid-30s or 40. And I just felt bad for her. And we'd go teach her husband, and he won't really open up to us about what's going on or why, but we try our best, and we just talk to him, right, about what really this church offers and what the gospel offers. And it was up to him, and one time this is after a little while, I wanted to drop him, because I was like, or just like kind of rest him for a bit. Right. Maybe we'll pick him back up in a few weeks, but it just wasn't going anywhere, right? And she was at the temple, and they went to church over there at the temple because it was a few hours away. And me and my comp were like, look over, and he walks in to the church. First time in 8 years he's ever walked inside the church. Okay. And he has his son with him who he had dressed, which shows some type of, he did that for him, to bring him to church. And so me and my comp were like, oh my gosh, this is the first time in 8 years he's ever come to church. And we were just super excited. I texted that sister and I let her know. I was like, hey, he just showed up. Did you know that? And she was like, I'm crying right now. Like, I had no idea this was going to happen. He never told me. And it was sad because, he came that one time. He left after sacrament. He stayed the whole time. And he hasn't come back since that I know of. But there's something there.
That's right.
It was a miracle that he had that prompting to go to church, and he followed that one time.
Right. That's right.
And it could happen again, but that was one of the biggest things I saw.
That's cool. Everybody's timeline is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not a race. It's not who gets there first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the great things I love about the gospel is that, and it's not a comparable gospel either. We're not compared to our neighbor. And even though Sawyer and Carter are identical twins, you know, when it comes to the end, you're not going to be compared to each other.
Right.
You know, you have obviously you have lived very similar lives up to this point, but your experiences are still your own. And that's what the gospel is. And that's what I love about having that understanding, is that, you know, we're not going to be compared to anybody else. It's going to be, you know, what did you do with what you knew and with what you had felt. Anyway, did either one of you keep journals or keep a journal?
We both did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like an everyday thing. Okay.
Yeah.
We tried to fill a page every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Okay. What was were you a journal keeper before your mission?
We were, but for the last 2 years of high school, or last year of high school, we didn't really.
Okay.
It was like every once in a while, but when we were kids, we did.
Okay. So is the journal filled with just a lot of day-to-day activities with the spiritual experiences, or is it mainly just spiritual experiences, or what is it?
Well, mine was, it was both.
Okay.
I mean, there were some days you can see if it's filled really tight letters because it's one page,
Right.
and so if it's like really tight, it's like, okay, it was a good day.
Right.
Or if it's like really big letters, fill the page. You know,
That's
there's just some
harder
days
to
it's
do.
like
like 3 lines, but it
That's
feels the whole
right. Yeah.
page.
Exactly.
and so some days are like that.
That's right.
Yeah. But I would say I would try to write down my spiritual experiences a lot, and some would go 2 pages or 3 pages, 4 pages if it was a really good day. And so those were my favorites, or I'd be excited to write down, because some days I'm like, I have nothing to write. This is gonna suck.
Exactly.
But it was really fun when I had the days where I was like, I'm excited to write this big spiritual experience down.
Yeah.
And I know it's boring to write just what you did in that day, but that's what I'd been doing since I was a kid. And I was like, I don't know how to journal, but I guess you just make that up.
That's
you know?
right.
And that's what I did on my mission. I just did the day to day. But when there was something that happened, and I talked about this a little bit in my homecoming talk as well, it's, you know, out of those 700 days or whatever it was, only 10 of those really mattered to me. You know, only 10 of those pages were written in the really small lettering and even took up 2 pages or 3 pages. And that's what I care about. You know, I want to see, you know, these days are happening and they're boring, but I like the day to day. I like seeing, I can remember that memory now, that story.
Right.
But those few pages that like actually had that experience written on them, that's why I like the boring ones to go with it.
That's right. Yeah. So thankfully, I kept a journal as well.
Yeah.
And every day, and just like you say, a lot of it is, you know, just kind of the, you know, mundane. You know, what area were you in? You know, how many people did you talk to? You know, mixed in with those good spiritual experiences. But it's cool to be able to go back now, you know, almost 30 years, and, you know, look at, so today's July 29th. You know, what was I doing on July 29th on my mission, you know, 30 years ago?
That's cool.
It's neat to be able to go back and read, and then to be able to share those experiences and pull your journal out and read that to your children. I know when I would do that with, you know, with Brody now serving, and I think a lot of missionaries experience this, or children growing up listening to their parents talk about their mission or missionary experiences. You know, you're like, okay, you know, you went on a mission, you know, you had these experiences, but you don't understand until you experience it yourself.
Sure.
And so on P days when we're talking to Brody, you know, so he'll start asking me more about my mission experience, because now he has something to relate it to.
Yeah.
And
like, help me out with this.
Yeah, exactly. And to really be able to understand, well, you know, what I was talking about, you know, 10 years ago when I'm sharing a missionary experience with him. So forth. So I think journals are awesome. I wish every missionary would journal as much as they could. Brody, he journals some, but I don't think he journals a whole lot and stuff. So, let's see here. I think we talked about this a little bit. I guess maybe the overall acceptance of the church over in the Philippines. Is it kind of widely accepted as a Christian denomination, or maybe did y'all battle that at all, as far as, you know, whether you're Christians or not or anything like that, or no?
Not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't that the fact that we're Christians, I wouldn't say that that was really contested.
Right.
Because all we did was talk about Jesus Christ, right? And so, that's how you relate to everyone, because the separation of church and state, right, in the Philippines, is not a thing.
Okay.
Like, that's why divorce isn't legal over there, is because it's Catholicism is the national religion.
Okay.
So everything kind of goes off that, whether they are a different religion or not. So it was, people knew that we talked about Jesus Christ, so we have it on our chest, right? But it was just the separation of that, right? Of their new religion, or their religion since they were kids, other than the national religion. It's a little hard to separate.
Right. Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So the state, the government recognizes Catholicism as the official religion that they, I guess, practice or what have you. But I guess people are still free to, obviously,
freedom of religion.
They definitely are. Okay. I think it is still hard though with our church, because they know it as Mormons,
right?
And that's what everybody knows, and even members over there still. And it's not everybody, but it's a lot of the Mormon church,
right?
I mean, you get into a Tricey, which is a little motorcycle with a sidecar to go to church, because we're far, and they'd always be like, "Oh, the Mormon church." We'd be like, "Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints," and like we try to get it into the Tricey drivers' heads, because every Tricey driver, every bus driver, everybody knows it as the Mormon church,
right? Yeah,
and so they'll even associate that with, you're not Christian, you're in a Mormon church, not a Church of Jesus Christ. But it's like, read our tag,
right?
And so it is funny that if they're not really that informed on our church, they will think we're not Christian.
That whole Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints thing, it's such an interesting subject to battle, because there have been periods where the church fully embraced being a Mormon, right? I don't know if y'all remember the Mormon campaign that was led up under Thomas S. Monson. I don't know if y'all knew that. Where they had this, I mean, they had celebrities and stuff saying, "I'm a Mormon."
Yeah.
Right. And they really, really embraced it. And then, fast forward to President Nelson. And President Nelson's like, "No, we're going to change this."
Yeah. Right.
So much so that, I mean, he was told, like, "Look, this is too big of an undertaking to try and really tackle this, especially in the online community from the websites, because we used to have Mormon.org, right? We don't have that. We don't have that anymore. Everything's Church of Jesus Christ." And I fully understand it, but I don't get caught up in it. I mean, I do. If people refer to me as a Mormon, then I do the same thing. I'm like, well, I actually remember the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. People, Mormon's a nickname, and much like the word Christian started out as a derogatory name or nickname to the followers of Jesus Christ back in his day.
Right.
Mormon was applied the same way and stuff. So pretty interesting. Favorite scriptures. You got a favorite scripture, a go-to scripture that you like?
For just Sawyer and I, he found this on the mission when we were in the MTC. We were about to go to the Manila MTC for 3 weeks, didn't leave each other. He found Alma 17:13. Right, that was when we actually read the Book of Mormon for the first time. Was in the MTC. Like, we had read it before, didn't understand what was in it.
Right.
And we were in the MTC together, like kind of racing and reading, and we're like, "Bro, did you know this is in here?" Like, it was kind of cool. But that scripture, it's just talking about the sons of Mosiah splitting off, right? Border of the land of the Lamanites. And it's exactly what we did, right? We were in Manila, split off that night, and went to our respective areas. And we just felt like them, right? We're like, we know we will meet back up at the end of our harvest because the work that we were doing is good, right? So that was like basically our mission scripture that it gave us a lot of comfort.
Say Alma 17:13, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love that. Let's see here. Alma 17:13, I see, and it came to pass when they had arrived in the borders of the land of the Lamanites, that they separated themselves and departed one from another, trusting in the Lord that they should meet again at the close of their harvest, for they supposed that great was the work which they had undertaken. That's cool. Which one discovered it? Sawyer?
Yeah. It was in
It-
Provo
it-
MTC. And I couldn't. I was trying to share it, and I was like, "I need you to read it."
Right.
Like, it was really hard
That's
because we were just
awesome.
so worried at that
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
that verse made it really easy. I was like, "Book of Mormon's written for our day. Like
That's
it's written
it.
for us
Yeah.
specifically."
Like he just sent it to me like that day and was like, read this. So we had like that, in the MTC they have like the hour-long study time on Sundays. And so that's when he sent it to me. And I just like for almost the entire hour I just read that scripture.
Wow.
And I was like just bawling. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got to do this.
Right. Did it provide the comfort? And would you refer back to that scripture kind of throughout the mission?
All the time.
All the time.
Like I have it in my personal scriptures, and I just had Carter. Like I had that written,
Right.
but like my nice set, like you have it. Just that's what I have written always. And then
That's cool.
there was another scripture I found right at the end of my mission, and I've read it before, but it was one of my really good friends. It was one of his favorite, and I read it. I was like, "That's really good. It's something I need to keep with me." And I read it every time I'm in the temple. I read it now. I just read that chapter, and I swear I'm gonna mix the numbers up, but I think it's Mosiah 5:13, just like how knoweth a man the master he hasn't served, or it's 13:5. It's
Okay.
switched. I don't know, but I love that because it's like, it's in that verse. It says someone that's far from your thought, like or far from your thoughts, and just kind of that. You got the scripture.
Yep. So Mosiah 5:13, for how knoweth a man the master whom he has not served, and who is a stranger unto him, and is far from the thoughts and intents of his heart. That's it.
I just think it really made a big impact on me when I read that, like when he showed it to me, because I was like, it's not just a man that he doesn't know, it's because he's far from his thoughts and his intents. And so God looketh upon the heart, we know that. And so just having him in your intent to do things, you want to follow Jesus Christ,
Right.
You're not going to do something bad if you want to follow Jesus Christ. If he's
Right.
not far from your thoughts, you're not going to do something bad because you're thinking about Jesus Christ. And so it's hard to keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your intents.
Yeah.
But that really made me think about it all the time.
That's cool. And that's why we're encouraged, even though we may have read all the scriptures 5, 6, or 50 times or 100 times, we're encouraged to continually read them, right?
Right.
Because when we stop doing it, then those things fade.
Yeah.
No matter how hard we try to keep it in, if we're not actively doing it, it's going to fade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I love that scripture.
There's just something for every point in life.
Yeah.
I didn't care about it. I was 17 before my mission.
Right.
And then you notice it as you're reading it because you're like, holy crap, this applies to me right now, but before that, it's just these guys I've never met and that I don't know anything about, split off to go talk to people I don't know. You know what I mean? But now you relate to it, just like Brody talking to you saying, help me out with this, or how did you do this on your mission?
Right.
It didn't mean anything to him until now, until
right.
he understands it.
That's awesome. So, Pete, did you have the same P day?
Yeah.
Okay. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for real.
So you were able to, so you call home once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Did that help out? Being able to call weekly, so I'm assuming, I think your dad has mentioned it. Y'all would all kind of be on the same call, or the call at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and so you'd be able to speak with each other during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then throughout the day, we just call each other because we're on the same time zone.
Right.
While we're during the day, we're doing whatever. Our parents are sleeping.
Right.
So Sawyer and I just called each other the entire day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are P days like over there? Do you do a lot of?
They love basketball.
Basketball. Okay.
Love basketball. And I suck at basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, but I enjoy trying it.
Yeah, that's good.
Just they're all about our height, anyways. They don't get much bigger than like 5'11". So you fit in with the crowd, but it's they love basketball. It's like Americans with football.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So people love just going to the church, playing random games, but it's super hot. So we're trying to stay inside until it gets a little cooler and play some basketball.
So what is the weather like over there? Does it get really cold, or is it just
Always hot?
Always hot?
Where we were.
Well, I mean, yeah, we were up in the northernmost part of the Philippines, so it was the hottest part of the Philippines.
Okay.
I mean, Taglish City is just city of fire. And that's what it means. And
oh wow, okay.
Because it's so hot, and you don't really, even during rainy season, it's like 80 something degrees, but it doesn't feel like it because you get so used to the bad heat of Taglish because it's just it's buildings, and so there's no trees, there's no wind, it's just really really hot.
All concrete buildings too.
Yeah, and
traps
so
it. Right.
all that heat's there. But then during rainy season, it's raining every day. You never see the sun, but it feels cold because you're used to the heat.
Right.
But it's not cold.
Wow.
It doesn't get cold.
Doesn't get cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So y'all. So did you ever wear suits, or is it
Nope.
no? Okay.
We were told not to bring them.
That would
Right.
be
on
terrible.
missions. Short sleeves and like golf pants my entire mission.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it was, I don't know, you just get used to being soaked all the time
Right.
in sweat.
So it's humid then? Is it
Super humid,
Super
yeah.
humid.
Yeah.
It's I would say it's a tad bit more than Florida.
Sometimes
It's
a lot
probably a
more.
bit
Wow.
more like South Florida,
Okay.
but worse.
Wow.
It's just, oh my gosh. Like there's these things called Easy Softs over there. It's this rubber shoe. It's like, it looks like a wingtip or just like a nice
nice
dress
shoe.
shoe, but it's just completely rubber. It's just straight rubber because they're super cheap and they're waterproof. So when it rains, you don't got to worry about it. So a lot of missionaries get them because they're like $5. And I had a pair. They're super nice. But like, there's a lot of missionaries that tell stories that they were in Taglish, in his city that he served in just straight summer, heat's on you. Your shoes are melting as you're
Mhm.
walking.
Really?
Yeah,
Because
like
they're rubber shoes.
Right.
So they'll
on black
completely melt.
asphalt. Yeah, it's really bad.
That's why
Wow.
I couldn't. Mine would break within a couple weeks. The Easy Soft, so I had to buy a nicer pair that wouldn't melt because it just gets so
As they
hot.
get soft, rip open.
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what was it like? The reunion, seeing each other for the first time, being able to hug each other, what have you. What was that like?
For
After
me,
2 years.
you want to answer first?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
It was weird because I knew Carter as he was a little quieter and he's more
Right.
talkative now. He has more friends. We always had the same friend group. And then we had different friend groups when we first saw each other. And all of our friend groups were there, luckily, because they were our batch out. And so I saw his friend group, he saw my friend group. And so when we first saw each other, it was weird because he was like, come meet my friends. And I was like, come meet mine. I don't know. It was just weird.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
weird to me, just having
That's
different
pretty
friend
surreal.
groups. But it was
Wow.
definitely, seeing him was way different than seeing the rest of my family.
Yeah.
Because me and Carter were together. And so when we came home, we was like, it's no big deal. But seeing each other for the first time was really
That's cool.
weird.
Yeah, because it was the same thing leaving. We left together.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have any problems. Like we didn't cry until we left each other.
Right. Right.
And then seeing each other again was awesome. It was like surreal because you're like, I've been just seeing you on the phone for 2 years. We finally get to hang out. And so I got to introduce him to my buddies and things like that. But you just felt you had your little like someone to fall back on again.
Right.
And so we can always talk to each other without caring about anything. We just talk to each other. And then we just didn't want to go home at that point because we were in Manila together. We're like, bro, we
Right.
both love this place. We both know the language. So we were on the plane. We're like, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
You
right.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all weren't able to serve together at all or anything like that? Or
Sadly, no.
service? Okay.
My mission president was pretty strict on boundaries. He was gonna let us meet up at the border one time, but then they were like, other people might try and do it. So
Right.
they
Yeah,
didn't
it
let
just
happen.
didn't end up
Yeah.
happening. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad it didn't.
Yeah.
I liked that it was not really 2 years because of the MTC, but we had that time apart. We had our missions separate, but then we still got to come back together as missionaries.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's cool. I remember. So y'all left the same time as Spencer,
Mhm.
my nephew, and it was funny because Spencer had a huge group there. A bunch of family
Yeah.
and everything, and then it was just y'all and your parents, right?
Yeah.
And of course y'all were getting on the same flight, and it was real emotional over on Spencer's side.
yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
crying and things like that. But like you say, there were no there. It was just kind of like, all right, hugging. We'll see y'all.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all later.
Uh-huh.
Sawyer and I were going to the check-in.
Yeah.
We're like, Spencer, come on, dude.
Right? Yeah. Exactly.
It's like my
cry.
dad started crying really bad, and we were like, "Bye, Dad." Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't sad.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if that. So, I wonder if any of that had to do. Do you know if they were emotional with their first children? That
They were emotional with all of them.
they
Yeah.
okay okay
I'd say Landon was probably the easiest to get rid of because he wanted to go on a mission really bad.
Yeah,
So
he was
like
excited.
we always knew he was just gonna go.
right
And so
That was the saddest one for me, though. I would say.
Yeah.
He
I'd say
left
so.
in that night, and I got really sad when he left, and because he was our only brother.
Right.
Other than because I didn't count him as a brother, he was just my twin,
right.
and so he was our older brother, and so that was
Yeah.
sad for us. But I'd say, yeah, all my parents got sad for all of them.
yeah
Yeah.
that's cool. What's the age difference between y'all and Landon?
He's 27.
5 years older than us.
5 years older. Okay.
2000, 2005.
So any questions I haven't asked, any experiences or anything that that you would like to share about the mission itself?
Yeah, actually, there's one thing
Okay.
I wanted to share because we talked. Sawyer and I talked about the things. I think it was from these questions
Okay.
as well. You know, something that we came to know a lot
Yeah.
differently or better
Yeah.
on
Okay.
our missions. And I like this question because there was. Have you ever heard of David Snell? Like, yeah, Saints Unscripted. I watched a lot of his videos on the mission, and that was for a lot of things. That was the first time I'd heard a lot of these situations, things about Joseph Smith, things about the church history,
Right.
and none of them bothered me. And of course, it's coming from a church like
Kind of
a
a church
member,
source,
an
right?
apologist,
Member,
right?
Yeah.
But you know, he tells you go do this research on your own, go read this, go do this, right? But one thing that I learned a lot about was prophets, right? Just they're not perfect at all, and we kind of put them up there on that pedestal,
Right.
Because they're the president of the church. But you look back, like think of Joseph Smith when he had to start the temple, start endowments, things like that. He had no idea what to do,
Right.
and people are like, "Oh, it came from this or that or whatever," but prophets are influenced by their day, right? And that was the biggest thing that helped me understand them was, you know, the whole thing with people think there's a racial problem with priesthood or things like that is we don't know what the situation was like.
Right.
And the prophets aren't saying a strict yes or no. It's, I just don't feel this right now. You know, I've been trying to talk to our Heavenly Father, get these answers. And it goes by the, you know, what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
How they're going to lead this church. And it's not from the members saying, do this, that they're going to do it. But it has an influence, you know, what's happening.
100%. I'm glad you brought that up because, I mean, you live in the times that you're in, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things that you may say or share or the lens that you view the world through, it has an effect for what time period, you know, that you're living in. So great point about understanding prophets, and prophets aren't perfect, right? But they're, you know, just doing the best they can, leading in the time that they've been called to lead in. So very good. Any thoughts on that question as well?
Yeah, for sure. So there was one I was just thinking about, it's pretty quick, and it was right before I left. I mean, it was a couple of weeks right before. We had a little zone meeting just with our whole zone, and our president, I was sitting beside him, and he just asked, like who do we report to? We report to mission president. We report to, right? We have people that we report to, and he was like, who does prophet report to? And I was like, Jesus Christ. And he was like, do you believe that? And I was like, yeah. He was like, do you actually? And I was like, yeah. But whenever he asked me that, I was like, shoot, I do. Like he has communication with Jesus Christ.
Right.
And there was another thing in my last area was a big area for revelation because it was my hardest area by far.
Liberty Jail.
Yeah. It was really hard because we'd have really big miracles. Like we have these people that come to church, bear testimony first Sunday, really cool experiences. And then her husband would be like, no, or the mom of this person we're teaching, no, we hate you guys. Like really big experiences and then really big like downfalls.
Right.
And it hurt a lot. But because me and my companion, we got along super well. My first companion in that area got along really well. My second companion, we didn't start off super well, maybe for a couple of days, but we got really close. And he was one of my foreigner companions. He's from Africa. And the first thing he told me was he said, I want to change. Like he was a little newer in the mission, or I guess not. He was a little further at that point, but he wasn't the most obedient. And he goes, I want to learn from you. And so I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with that. But when we started getting work done, he liked the work more. We started enjoying the work. Even though it was really hard, we'd have really big things happen like that. And we'd be like, okay, let's just go find somebody else. You know, there's people out there that are ready to hear the gospel. And one thing he told me, it was my last cycle, and it was I didn't have an interview with my president, but he was like, "You want to know what I told president?" And I was like, "What's that?" And he was just he said, I told him to like that we've been looking for the small miracles. Like we kind of changed. It wasn't that our expectations went lower because of what had been happening, but we started looking for the miracles in everything. It wasn't just they're getting baptized, huge miracle. We met somebody today that's going to get baptized tomorrow. Like it wasn't it. We just found little miracles of our person that we're teaching. She read the scriptures by herself and found a verse that was amazing. And so we started looking for those miracles, and it made the area so much better. It was still an incredibly hard area, but we enjoyed every day because we made finding fun. We did all those things, and that was my favorite part. It ended up being some of my favorite cycles because of my companion helping me look for those small miracles. Like we were just able to help each other.
That's cool. Yeah, and just applying that to life, remembering and looking for the small blessings.
Yeah.
We often look or wonder why we aren't getting the big blessings in life or seeing those big miracles. But those little blessings and those little miracles, they add up.
They do.
And together they are big and huge.
That's what creates a testimony here.
Absolutely. That's cool. So let's talk just a little bit about plans moving forward.
Yeah.
What's the future look like for Sawyer and Carter?
Well, like you said, we grew up the same, and right now our plans are the same.
Okay.
Because, we have a cool opportunity to be able to work together our entire lives. Whether we study together, which is the plan at the moment. We just started getting our private pilot's license.
Okay.
And, I'm not 100% sure if I'll keep going with that. But we'll see. Right? That's our plan right now. But we plan to just work together throughout our lives. And we're going to separate, get married and have our own separate lives. But, there's nothing that could really take that away from us,
Yeah.
being twins. So our plans are definitely pretty centered in the gospel, but the same.
Cool. Yeah. Gonna be able to, you're going to make it a point to stay close.
Yeah.
For sure. That's awesome.
Especially in the church too.
Yeah.
I mean, working together, even if we don't go into the same job, which we want to, but who knows what happens.
Right.
On the mission, we learn to work apart, but have the same goals. And that really helped us. And so even my president was just talking about, he goes, the job, yeah, you want to be passionate about it, but do something where you can serve in the church.
Yeah.
And so that's why my older brother, he's a pilot, and he talked to us about piloting, and it just felt right. And so that's why we're doing it right now. And it continues to feel right for me. And it's something later on I can serve in the church a lot more. I won't be taking work home. I get to be focused on church, be focused on work. It won't be focusing on both.
Yeah.
And that's something I really loved about it too when thinking about it.
That's good advice, being able to make yourself available to serve in the church. That was heavy in my decision. One of the things going into law enforcement, and there's many careers you can go into that does make it difficult. And so there were a couple of areas that I really wanted to pursue, but one of the things that kept me from doing it was I don't know how conducive that is to serving in the church, serving the Lord's kingdom here on the earth. And so that's definitely something to keep in mind for sure. So daily habits that you picked up on the mission that you want to try and continue afterwards.
Well, comp prayers, we'll do that at night just because we're in the same room, and it helps you stay close with someone. Like that's what I would do for when me and my comps, like, we never argued, but I would get annoyed with him or something, and I would, in my personal prayer, pray for him. But comp prayer was a thing that could always keep you spiritually close together, even if you just weren't feeling it that day. You're there to teach, and you both know that. So comp prayer for sure, and then studies a bit harder, but I want that a lot. I want to keep that in my daily schedule.
Are y'all gonna? As far as maintaining the language, how do you do that? I don't know a lot of Tagalog that spoke around here in the Southeast, or what have you.
There's some that we've seen.
Are there?
Met some at the temple the other day. That was a big miracle.
Okay.
But we try to speak it with each other, not all the time, but we do speak it with each other a good bit. And I do want to get into a study habit with it. I haven't yet, but yeah, speaking it with each other it has been nice.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
and a big thing is music. Like we love the Tagalog music because
Yeah.
you hear it all the time walking and stuff,
Right.
and that's one of the reasons I picked up the guitar.
Yeah.
Was because I loved the music, and I was like, bro, it's my taste in music, but it's this language that I'm
Mhm.
learning, and so
That's cool.
I'd have my comps teach me some of the songs.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. I think what you're going to play for us here in a little bit is in Tagalog, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, anything? Is there anything again? Anything I haven't asked? Anything that you? Anything else you want to share?
There was something I was thinking about earlier where you were talking about the challenges of the mission,
Mm-hmm.
and one I'd say, and it kind of goes back to me and Carter and what we talked about earlier was what he said when we split up. He didn't have anybody to lean on, and I felt the same way because I've always been super talkative, and he always was a little quieter. But whenever I got to the mission, I stopped being talkative, and
Okay.
it was really hard on me because I was like, I have to figure out how to be talkative again because I'm talkative with Carter around, and that's what I was used to.
Right.
And so then it was I have to be talkative by myself, and I was able to pick it up pretty quickly because I had a companion. So I was never mad at having to have someone with me all the time. Some of my companions didn't like having someone with them; they wanted to be alone, but I loved it. I couldn't go to sleep without my companion in the room. I was used to that.
Right.
And so that helped me a lot with having to be social again. I was like, it's in a different language. I don't have Carter to help me be social. Like, and so learning to do that was hard. But then, say, having these companions and stuff, it was really cool just to learn to do that by myself. Learn to, I guess, just be your own person.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
And like Carter helped me with one thing too, with kind of things to help you get through hard times. You know, people have music or they'll have like a good movie or just things
Right,
like
right.
that. And we all have that. And on the mission, you kind of lose all of it. And I remember Carter was telling me one time, and it was right before I had a mission tour, and we had a week of hurricane, so we had no power for a week, and I had no laundry, and I was like, where am I? I don't know. I was just kind of freaking out, and it was really mad, and I just wanted music back, and I was wanting all these things, and Carter was like, look, this is a time to find different ways to cope with
For sure. Yeah.
with your mission
That's
with life.
yeah.
And so that helped me a lot. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna find a scripture verse this time. I'm not gonna find music,
There
and
you go.
that helped me a lot. I was like, it made me think like, I do need to find things that help me, that are different than non-spiritual things. I don't know.
It's good advice. That's one of the great things about a mission. You learn so much about living, adapting,
Yeah.
and you get a very good look at people's lives and what happens or what can happen
Right.
without the gospel.
What to be grateful for.
Yeah, what to be grateful for. Your mission has built you a foundation that
Yeah.
you can build upon and continue to grow in the Lord and grow your spirituality, and then eventually be leading your own family
Yeah.
on their gospel path, which is an exciting time. That was one of the most exciting things for me that I look forward to, was being able to get married and to start my own little family.
Yeah.
And everything. So that's exciting times ahead for you. Are y'all gonna do? You plan on doing some young single adult trips, activities, things like that, or
We got
not really?
invited, so yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And we'll be out in Utah soon, so we'll hope to do YSA stuff out there also.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank y'all for coming on. And we've got so you brought your guitar.
Yeah.
So what do you have for us here?
It's a song called Libu-libong buwan, which is just thousands of months, or uwian, which is like basically who you come home to, right? Can you get my cape on my pic right there?
Who you come home to?
Yeah, it's
okay.
it's a love song, but most Filipino songs are.
Yeah, they're really corny, but in Tagalog it sounds really
nice.
Yeah. That's why Tagalog is just a prettier language, because everything's corny if you put it in English, but you're like, wow, Tagalog is beautiful.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you got the lyrics too.
Yeah, you want them?
Sure. Kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit anong bagyo paman ang dumaan, ikaw pa rin papuntahan. At kung ano man ang nararamdaman, asahan mong ako'y andito lang, di ako lalayo kailan paman, kailan paman. Kahit madalas na tayong di magkasunduan, ikaw pa rin ang uuwian. Mahal, ikaw ang uuwian. Baguhin man ng libo-libong buwan ang kulay ng kalangitan, pangako ko hindi kita iiwan. Pangako yan. At kahit madalas na tayong di magkasunduan, ikaw pa rin ang uuwian. Mahal, ikaw ang uuwian. At kung umabot man sa dulo at tatanda na tayo, ikaw pa rin ang uuwian. At kahit na maghirap tayo, di na mapapago, ikaw pa rin ang uuwian. Ikaw pa rin, oh, ikaw pa rin. Ikaw lang ang uuwian.
That's great. Tell you what, man, y'all sound good together. Sound really good. Y'all got any future plans of recording or anything? Anything together?
We think it'd be fun, like out in Utah, to do some Tagalog gigs. Like, there's a lot of RMs that speak the language and stuff, so we might try it.
Yeah,
but we've never really done much like that before.
We'd like to record music if we can, but I mean, just for fun.
Just for fun, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you sound really good. So you said you started playing the ukulele when you were
kids.
Yeah, okay. And then when did you start picking up the guitar?
My third area.
Third area is when you picked up the guitar. Okay, very
so I've been
good.
playing it since then, and I love it a lot more than the ukulele.
Okay, yeah. Is there just like a wider variety that you can go?
There's so
or
much
is it-
more you can do with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Like, the ukulele's just got the 4 strings and I don't know how many frets, but this is like, you can play the chord like 6 different times
Right.
on just the fretboard, and it's just, you can explore more, you know?
That's awesome. That's awesome, fellas. Well, hey, thank y'all so much again for coming on. It's been fun, and you got wonderful testimonies. Appreciate your example, and going out and serving the Lord. You've continued the tradition there in your family, and have continued the tradition of thousands of young men and young women answering the call to serve. It's not an easy thing to do. You have experienced yourselves now, and but it helps out. You know, we've had a ton of missionaries leave the Kingston, Georgia stake, and when peers see their other peers, right? When young men, young women see their peers leaving and answering that call, it's hard not to accept the call yourself,
Right.
and stuff. So, thank you all for accepting the call to serve, and I see great things coming from you. So, appreciate it very much. If y'all would leave us with your testimony in Tagalog, if you would.
Sure. Alam ko na totoo itong ebanghelyo. Ito talaga yung ebanghelyo ni Jesucristo. Walang iba, di ba? Nababasa natin maraming beses sa aklat ni Mormon, di ba? Na walang ibang pangalan na ibinigay ng langit kung saan tayo maliligtas. Alam ko rin na totoo si Jesucristo. Na dahil sa Kanya, tayo ay pwedeng maging malinis mula sa ating mga kasalanan. At alam ko totoo ang Kanyang ang plano po ng ating Ama sa Langit. At nasasabik din ako na magpatuloy sa aking ginagawa ngayon. Na maging isang parang sundalo ng ating Ama sa Langit. At alam ko na totoo ang lahat ng sinabi ko. At buhay pa ang ating Ama sa Langit at si Jesucristo. At nais ko po itong iwan sa pangalan ni Jesucristo. Amen.
Amen.
Gusto ko din patotohanan yung sinabi po ng kamara ko na si Jesucristo siya po yung tagapagligtas natin. Alam ko yan kasi naligtas niya ako sa pamamagitan po ang kanyang ebanghelyo. Kaya hindi ko nalaman yung buong ebanghelyo niya noon bago ako nag-mission. Mas nakilala ko ang aking manunubos. Ayan po ay si Jesucristo. Sa pamamagitan po ang pagbabasa sa ang aklat ni Mormon, nalaman ko din na meron po ng mga propeta na hindi sila perfecto, pero meron po silang mga karanasan upang mas malaman ko din kung ano yung mga pagsubok nila, kung ano yung mga ways na mas dumapit sila kay Jesus Christ. Nagpapasalamat din ako sa mga halimbawa ng aking mga kapatid, mga magulang ko, kasi alam ko na yung ebanghelyo nito ay totoo. Gusto ko lang itong iwan sa pangalan ni Jesucristo. Amen.
Amen. Very good. Again, thank y'all very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Until next time, y'all keep on striving. Cool.
Good stuff.
Nice. Good times.
Good job, fellas.
That was fun, actually.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.